What's up, everybody? It's your favorite oxymoron's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at movie masterpiece Transformers Brawl. On loan to me from Leo Alpha on Patreon. He hit me up and was like, hey, I got this. You want to take a look at it? And I always try to take a look at as much Transformers stuff as I can for y'all. So I said, yep, sure, send it. And he sent it. And here it is. So we're going to go ahead and look at it, but in order to do so, we need to look at accessories. We'll start out with these two kind of missile pods. There is actually some paint on these, surprisingly. So you have this darker color that's the base, and then the lighter olive green is painted on, as are the yellow tips. In vehicle mode, they just peg in here to the top, and it does really add something to it, I must say. Like, it does finish the look. Obviously, those rocket pods integrate onto the same pegs and port system for robot mode as well. He comes with this weapon here. I'm not exactly sure. Some sort of space weapon, right? Some sort of Cybertronian weapon. The green, I think, is painted on, as are the kind of cords there. They're painted as well. Otherwise, you have this tab here. And in alt mode, you can plug that into the top of the turret if you so desire to really arm them up. Your 4 cannon guns will integrate using the peg system that we use for alt mode. You also get this like claw weapon, the 2 claws, and then the kind of minigun there. Once again, another tab. Once again, that will tab into the top of the turret, so it can kind of look as silly as you'd like. This weapon with the claws will also integrate using the same peg system. Lastly, you get a number of fire and blast effects that you can kind of use as you see fit, wherever you can get them to work. Obviously, some of them are a little bit more intuitive than others in regards to how to utilize them. You can use any of these blast effects here in the turret, the cannons, you know, as you see fit. This one with the missiles will obviously plug into your missile launcher. Hopefully a little bit better than that. You can also utilize those with this weapon if you so desire. You can remove the arm on a little like tension clip there and then replace it with this, so that he can, like, you know, have a little battle damage with that effect. Up to you. This last piece is intended, you got to follow this like arrow piece on there, but it's intended to like sit on his chest for battle damage. You know, they've done this before with another one. Was it Bone Crusher? So I guess they're just following through. And here it is in alt mode. Real quick, there it is next to Tiger Tracks. So big mamma jamma. And yeah, I mean, I think it works well enough. It does have wheels. These bits, I think, are supposed to tab in a bit better than what I have. Oh, there you go. There, that's much better. Interesting. You have your top turret that can turn, and the guns can rotate up. And then you have your bottom turret that also can turn, and this gun can rotate up and down as well. You have the camo print painted on. Couple little accents, but it really does lack the paint of what kind of makes a masterpiece look like a masterpiece, in my opinion. I do like the sculpt work, all the little rivets, all the wheel work, the tracks, all of that. There is care in that. That's not lost on me. 2 tanks here in the back, 2 fuel tanks. That looks good to me. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. All right, let's get him transformed. So there are these side panels. You can loosen them up, make sure that this is untabbed, and then bring that around. The beginning steps of this are largely just opening things up. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Bring that around. There's this section here that will open up and allow you to get this piece up. And then you can bring these pieces up as well. We do have to wrap this cannon around. So bring it here to 90. And then let's see here. Bring this all the way around. Then this will tab back onto itself. Tab in, and then that sits back up. All right, there's these wheels here on the side. They need to collapse onto one another. There's a separation point with the treads here And that will usually free up this other section that will rock back. You can bring down this and bring these pieces down and fold his head back, and that will allow you to bring these armatures down, accordion them on a double hinge. Oh, you want to make sure that this is back up though. So do as I say, not as I do, I suppose. And then same on that side. And then this comes down. These collapse on both sides, like a little section of wheel. So you take this tab and you want to get it behind this little panel there. Same for the other side. And then make sure that this is all tabbed in. And then I can't remember. Yeah, so then that comes down and tabs into the back plate. And that sits across the treads there in the front. Lower arm, you have to get this panel up. You have to get this panel, just bend that one out. And then lastly, this panel rocks up and in. And then this one comes up and around. I'm not making this look smooth. Maybe I'll get it better on the second one. And tabs in. And then you can flip out this hand here. For the upper arm, it's this whole shoulder assembly that unfurls and has to spin around that piece there. And then you're just folding panel 1, panel 2, that comes down and tabs in. And then it comes and tabs into the opposite side of the arm as well. And there you have one arm. Second arm, same deal. We'll try this panel first maybe. So bring that up. Bring this panel over. This is the panel that's tricky. And I just pushed it back down. That one, there's just not a lot of wiggle room to get right, but I did better, I guess. And then bring the hand out, and then take your shoulder pad, untab it. You have to kind of pull it apart or pull it away from other plastic, which is not my favorite. Bring it down here, panel 1, panel 2, and then this tabs in, comes around, and tabs back in to the shoulder. Now to finish it off, you need to get this like kind of serious tab there plugged in to the upper body. So just maneuver it and then you can kind of orient it properly, you know, but you can clean all that up in the end. But it's just trying to get, you got to get out of it. He has to get out of its own way, basically. So just spin this around. That's what you're looking to grab a hold of. Once you get it, then you can just orient your arm accordingly. All right, bring up his waist sections here. Put them into place, and then there's a little tab on this wheel here that will bend forward and plug in. It's one of the nice things, I guess, about the Bay designs is like you can just add tabs everywhere and it doesn't necessarily look out of place, you know, because it's like all just everywhere. Okay, then you have all of this. So you got to collapse this, fold that in. This comes down. There's a tab inside of here that's going to plug into this gray piece. And then this tab here is going to come up and fall into place there. So same on this side. Fold, fold, come in here, tab into place, come around to the back, tab into place. Then you have these sections. So there's a little armature here. You want to get that out. Make sure this stays in. And you want to bring these pieces and collapse them. This needs to go under your wing sections that you just put in. And then your little armature needs to tab in. Rotate this around. Bring these up. This comes up. This comes up. And then this comes up, tabs back in. This piece folds forward, and then I think this is meant to be a bit of an antenna, and that stays up. There's a lot going on with these legs. I hope I don't miss a step, but we're going to try. Okay, so separate them. Flip these panels. You can get that done immediately. And then where do we start? So let's open this up. We can bring the foot down and rotate that towards the front. This panel here needs to swing out. There it goes. And then this folds down. And then this all swings to the inside and tabs back in. All right, you have this piece that folds down. It's like these little, just little things you have to remember. This piece comes down. This piece opens up. And then this all has to fold back in. But everything is double hinged, so you got to make sure that you got it right. There. The nice thing about this step is you do have one little visual cue to kind of keep you in line, and that is that. So you know you have to connect that, right? Then this piece, I think, flips out to the side. If I could be wrong about that. All right, then we have so the toes flip out. This piece flips up. These pieces flip out. This flips up. And this flips up. And I think that is one leg. So let's go through it one more again. The foot comes down. This panel opens up. The foot faces towards the front. This track falls in on itself. This track wraps around, and it all tabs together. Then you have this piece that needs to come down. You have this section, which needs to untab, unfurl, come down. Remember, you have your visual cue. And now I can utilize this. And then this has got to sit up in there, right? Yes. And then this piece can come out and around. And plug in. I don't have that 100% right, do I? I'll mess with it. Bring this piece down. bring your out, your heel out. This piece comes up. This piece comes up. I'll clean this up. It needs to look like this one. I've almost got it. But I don't. So I'll clean it up and we'll take a look at it. And let's get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. So we got some, like, it's supposed to be sort of weathering there. It doesn't look great. It looks almost more like pad printed paint of like a flag or something than it does like weathering. But it is painted there with black and silver. The eyes are painted red. There is gold on the face. So what do we have? Silver and gold. The head is on a hinged swivel. So you get the swivel. You don't really get anything up, and you get a little bit down. Moving on to the torso. You do get a waist swivel. It is limited because you start bumping into stuff, but you do get a little bit of one. I'll take what I can get sometimes these days. You have the same sort of weathering paint that we've seen before. You have the Decepticon symbol pad printed paint on as well as that piece of weathering. We've already seen these as well, so we're good there. On the shoulders, we have some weathering effects as well. We have a ratcheted shoulder that gets you up to 90 degrees, and it ratchets around for the full 360. You have a bicep swivel. You actually have a swivel above the elbow also. You have an elbow bend that gets you a little less than 90 degrees. You have a wrist swivel as well, and the fingers are articulated at a base and secondary knuckle, and the thumb is just on a single swivel. All right, same for this side. I'll drop the camera down a little bit. We have hips. So let me get these out of the way. Ratcheted out to the side for the full Van Damme. Ooh. Tight little joints, but forward and back, almost the full Monty. I say we give it to him. Really tight joints there. We have a thigh swivel just above the knee. We have a ratcheted knee joint that gets you 90 degrees. Gold accents on the pelvis, gold wires and cords painted on. Ankles. We have no ankle tilt, up or down, but you do get a rocker, which is interesting. I would have expected a little bit more, honestly. You got these nice gold details that come through around the knee. And there he is from the back. I mean, like, he's clean. He's messy, but he's like messy in all the right ways. Do you know what I mean? I think they did a pretty decent job with him, honestly. Let's do some size comparisons. Size comparison wise, I don't really have anything that makes sense to show him with, but I feel like everybody kind of knows the size of an MP car, and there he is standing next to one. So very large robot, no doubt about it. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. I do have to say there are some transformation components that I'm not crazy about. Moving plastic around plastic. Some of this plastic is a lot softer. So sometimes, unless it's a real kind of big notch, so to speak, it won't plug in and remain the way that you would prefer it stay plugged in. Outside of that, there's some limitations with articulation. When manipulating the figure, you do wish there was more elbow bend. You do wish there was more waist swivel. And it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. You do wish there was more ankle rocker, and ankle tilts would have helped as well. It is surprisingly limited because it doesn't seem that way as you're going through the process. Moving on to the positives, though, I do enjoy the transformation. Like, it's very complex and complicated, but it's not really frustrating. There's that one little part of the knees. You just have to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly. But it's really fun for the most part and sort of surprisingly intuitive and surprisingly inventive to sort of hide everything. The way it covers up the backpack, the way it utilizes the tracks into robot mode around the shoulders and stuff. Like, there's some really kind of inventive stuff that goes on with this. I think the accessories are cool and appropriate and integrate well. There's not a ton of paint, but it's all done clean, and there is enough accents to at least make it visually interesting. I think they captured something with the character here. I mean, in you and how I feel about these characters, I feel like they don't really have any character, but there's something about it that does strike that movie look and movement correctly. So I tip my hat to them. I think it's a decent figure. If you're into it, I suggest picking it up. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.